Number 69, Mother.
Yep.
Big. Well, honestly, it's just been a long day. I'm tired, Mother.
You sleep well tonight.
I don't even know. What exactly did Dad and the neighbor do today with the trees? Did I miss out? Did I miss out on the trees?
No, because Dad couldn't use the machine anyhow.
Why? What happened?
It was sinking into the lawn, so
Well,
he had to take it back.
So I don't understand what they actually did.
And he had to pay for it, which drives your father crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But what were they? What exactly was the goal? What were they trying to do?
Take down some dead trees between us and our neighbor's property.
Oh, okay.
Because they're gonna fall pretty soon if you don't take them down, and they'll fall in the lines and whatnot.
Did he and Co just like go chopping like?
Well, they did some. They were able to do some by on Co's side because I guess they weren't as high, but I think they'd use ladders and whatnot to do it. I don't know when Dad's planning on doing ours, the other ones that we have.
So
then they were working on the deck.
So in other words, I still will have to do trees at some point.
I don't know. You have to ask Dad because I really wasn't paying attention. Then Dad was working on the deck. The tree in the middle of our deck expanded, right?
Yeah.
It expanded so much that it pushed the outer pegs underneath the support beams, pushed it out, and pushed the deck. It separated the deck boards.
Really?
Yeah. So Dad thought he could just bring that board back in. He can't because the tree is pushing it
against
it.
Oh. Yeah, for those. So our deck has a giant tree through the center of it.
Yeah.
So.
Which had space over the years because we used to worry about you guys falling in it.
We used to have a little sand pit there.
Yeah.
And there was a giant gap where my brother and I would throw the sand into the gap, but the tree's grown so much since we were little it's like watching a fat man try and fit in a pair of jeans.
Dad's been cutting it out over the years, but you can't keep doing it because there are support brackets underneath. So it's not just cutting.
Oh, so he's been cutting. He's been cutting the area.
Yeah, expanding it so the tree can grow and give it room. Well, that does.
Now, for those of you wondering why I didn't help today with the trees, I was busy doing an entire undecking. I think that's a word. Undecking. I had to pull out I went to my uncle's house to pull out. I've never done. I'm not a handyman. I've come to the conclusion, Mother, I'm not a handyman. I also learned I can't do fractions on the fly, because they're like, we need 3/16 and 8/19. I'm just like, what? Like, I can't do that. I can't store that much information at once. I knew I was screwed when Uncle goes, you can be the pen holder.
Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
I got Sharpie duty.
Oh no, I'm gonna hear about that one.
I know, but again, I haven't done fractions since I think grade school. I never really did fractions in high school. I don't think.
Well, you don't use them.
Yeah, why would I ever use them?
But the same thing. You say you're not a handyman. How many things do you actually build? Nothing.
I think I could.
You don't build anything. You don't work with hammer. You don't even know what half the tools are. Fair,
but I think if I'm the demolition guy, demolition's easy. Bring me in for demolition.
Yeah.
Everything else, I was like, I can't do that. But I'm good with the screwdriver. I was like.
Well, the point is, you don't do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah. Again, if I had to, I could figure it out. Like, if I absolutely
If you did it a lot and you had to do it often, you learn.
But the fractions, I was like, oh, man. So, and then cutting stuff was fun.
Again, your uncle's been doing this stuff since he was a little kid. So.
Our uncle is probably the biggest handyman you'll ever meet. He's got every tool imaginable, I'd say.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's a tool fiend, but...
He's got everything.
He's, he used to enjoy doing that stuff.
Yeah. It kind of makes me wish in private Catholic school we had some kind of wood shop class.
Yeah.
Because now they have wellness day at these public schools. But, yeah, I don't know. For me, that was...
But we didn't have that in our school either. Point is, he was outside doing it because he was the only son. So my father needed help. Come on, Raymond, grab the tools. We're going out. We're going to do whatever. And parents did more of that stuff. They didn't hire people as often.
Yeah.
They figured it out.
So
your dad, same story. We didn't know anything about taking care of a house.
I might be able to screw in a light bulb.
Well, still.
No. But yeah, the fractions, because it's funny. Now I'm like, oh, wow, this is the one time I actually need fractions. I learned integers. Ask me when I've ever needed. Ask me when I need integers. I've never done those since high school.
Integers aren't a big deal for construction work.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying I've never, So out of all the things I needed in high school, I wish I learned fractions rather than integrals and integers.
Well, you did learn it.
Not in high school.
Use them.
High school, we did not do fractions.
No, you used them in grammar school.
Yeah, but that's how long it's been. I know how to do it. I just couldn't do it without paper. You know what I mean? Like, I can't visually...
Okay.
I'm a visual learner, so if I can't visually see something, like, of course I can do fractions. I just can't do them on the fly and store that much information knowing what I needed. Does that make sense?
Right, but you can do stuff with like megabytes or terabytes because you use that stuff, right?
Sure.
I mean, I'm saying trying to compare measurements to measurements. If you worked every day doing stuff where you're building something, measuring things in
you
that
get
world,
used to it, obviously.
Right, you see things in fractions.
They were telling me, Chris, remember these fractions? And I could do it, but like they're like, how do you convert this? I go, shit, give me paper. I'm like, what do you, quarter, a third? Shit.
What is this, a math class, or am I helping you with a deck?
Thirds and fourths and like halves obviously were easy, but when they were like, we have 7/16, 8/16, I was like, So, and then we had overhang. They were using terms. They were using woodworking terms. I did. He said, "What was the word?" Uncle goes, "Hey, can you catty corner this?" And I was like, "What the?" I was like, "What do you mean candy corn?" So,
God!
It goes to show. What was another one that they used? I don't even remember.
Maybe you guaranteed never being asked to help again.
Oh yeah, that was. My brother and I had to build a wall for him once out of rocks. I was like, "Oh man, this is tough." But today,
yeah.
I was like,
well, and you got to be exact if he's putting in a foundation.
I felt like an idiot, Mom.
Well, okay.
I played with the dogs. I was at that point.
Come here, pretty dog. Yeah. We don't do no faction, pretty dog.
Yeah, that's basically how it felt.
We do whole numbers. Whole numbers.
But yeah, taking out the deck was fun. I did not realize because that was temporary. So our uncle has a deck that I helped him build a couple years ago, or maybe Dad helped him build. I helped part of it, but it was temporary. It wasn't like built into the house.
Right.
And then you kind of see how rain affects stuff because once you lift all that up, it's just rot.
Right.
It's like, oh, I didn't realize. Like I could put, like if I wanted to, I can put my fist through that wood.
Well,
easily.
Dad took the cap off the back of the Land Cruiser because you had to put the hitch in order to get this rental piece. He was shocked. I was shocked. It's all rusted. We never use our hitch. It's always covered.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all
just
rusted.
How much water gets in.
Yeah, and just over time, since we never take, it's just a plastic piece that covers it. We don't really pop that off. When was the last time we used the hitch?
No.
Maybe when we did the bikes years ago, and it's all rusted under.
Oh,
there.
the other thing I learned today is so we were doing some cement stuff. Mm-hmm. I didn't realize that there's like lime or something in the cement and it burns your skin. I was like, oh my God, this sucks. Because I had a couple holes in my gloves. So I was like,
uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's
I feel
okay.
fine now, but it's like you just
Why,
have
you
to
were physically mixing
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Okay.
I had to be good for something, Mother, you know?
Another fun day
Sharpie
Uncle
boy
Ray.
and mixing.
Just go put that up. Pick it up and put it down
Do
over
we
there.
need to show you how to get out a gallon of water? They literally give me the gallon thing.
Measure
a gallon of water. And I'm like, how many is this? All right. Anyway, today was this week was kind of dull with news. I don't remember. I mean, I'm sure we had, obviously, we're still talking about trials and stuff, but nothing like new.
No, I think it's been a very big week.
Well, we had a pretty bad shooting, unfortunately. That's
not that. I mean,
doom and gloom podcast.
Unrest all over the country over the Israeli Hamas attack.
I don't even know where you want to start. We got, just so you guys know, we got hard demonetized on the last podcast.
Nice.
Hard demonetized. I even put, I was like, everyone's talking about this, so why are we getting demonetized? Even the YouTube emailed me and they were like, yeah, we can't. It's not suitable for advertisers. Not that we got in trouble or anything.
What particular topic? Or was it just
probably just the Israel stuff. That's probably it.
Oh, we're not allowed to talk about Israel now?
We can talk about it, we just can't monetize. We're not getting channel strikes or anything.
Please.
Yeah. Where do you want to go? Which one are we doing?
Well, I pulled up, my first one was the article from the New York Post. Rather than protecting Jews, we're being told to hide again.
So jeez. Okay. So
that's a picture of Cooper Union Library. So the other couple days ago, these Jews were in there, surrounded by glass, while the Palestinians were pounding on the wall at them, trying to get them to come out. Question is, why?
Yeah, what were you gonna do when they get out there?
Right. But as this man was talking about, you know, we're back to that mentality. In the 1991, in a very large Jewish area in Brooklyn, Crown Heights, a Jewish man hit a 7-year-old black child with a car by accident and killed him, which was terrible. But it created this.
We really are the doom and gloom podcast.
Well, I'm saying this is what the article's about.
Okay,
but anyhow, it caused a riot. People were beating up Jewish people on the streets.
Yeah.
It was terrible. And one individual was actually killed. They stabbed him, a Jew, several times. So that's what this article's talking about, that we're back to that mentality again. It's hunting season for the Jews. And it's sad. I mean, that was 1991. Here we are in 2023.
That's 91, wow.
Yeah. I think that's when the story was, when it happened. Here we are in 2023, and I just thought it was pertinent. And this person's bringing up a good point. When does this end in this country? This is getting ridiculous that now they're told, don't come out. And basically, this was a big day. So when they had the Sabbath, this is a Hasidic area. You can't do anything. You can't use any electronics. You can't drive a car. You go to temple.
Oh,
whatever.
This is Hasidic Jews.
It's Hasidic Jews. It's a very devout in this particular area, yes, but it's going on all over. What they do like to do is they go out and take a walk because there's nothing much else you could do. And now they're being told basically for your own safety, stay inside.
But I love the stupidity of this. These people have never lived in Israel, right? All these kids probably have never lived in Israel.
Probably not, yeah.
Yeah. But these people, I bet you, have never been to Palestine.
Yeah.
Right? And they're like, hey, get out here so we can do something. It's like, what?
Right. And you're going after, a group of people who had literally nothing to do with what's going on
literally,
over there.
they go to college here in America. Like, most of them are probably born and raised. I would argue. I'm a betting man now. All of a sudden, Michael's 21, so I'm a betting man.
Yeah.
There's not a single Jewish person in there that's actually been overseas or out of America. I bet.
I don't know.
Bet.
It's hard to say because many of them do make a trip to Israel to the, their
Sure, but they don't live there.
No, they don't live there. But
I've been to Mexico. That doesn't mean me Mexican.
But the point is, it shouldn't happen in this country.
No, yeah.
It shouldn't happen. Likewise, Israeli children should not be hunting down Palestinian people in this country.
Absolutely.
Or Israeli students, I should say, not children.
Again, Mom, you're talking about common sense, okay?
But that's the point. We've lost common sense, and it's really been highlighted the last couple weeks since October 7th. Wow. And now the elites in this country are seeing just how bad it is.
Oh, yeah.
We have a whole group of mostly immigrants, but not all. What's going on in the college campuses, the comments being made by professors is outrageous, regardless of how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
terrible.
all being documented. That's why to the contrary of what you're saying, this has been a very eye-opening week for a lot of people. Yeah. And every other day I'm seeing another Jewish person pulling their multi-million dollars from these Ivy League schools that are supporting these students and encouraging them to go out after other or anti-Israel or saying nothing to stop it. Again, outrageous.
You know what I think it is, too? I think it's lack of education. I talked to someone yesterday. I told you this, but I didn't realize how public schools work grading-wise now. Like, I always thought it was like what they're being taught is different, but there's no grades anymore. There's no A, B, C's, and D's. It's just A's and E's. There's no B, C, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So you either have A for average. There's nothing higher than average, apparently. And then E is like, hey, you're doing poor. And all you do is, like, go to a special class that just makes it easier.
Yeah.
You still get the same grade. So it's almost like my friend was telling me this, and again, I don't know how much she knows about what her kids do in school, but she said, technically speaking, if you fail all your classes, and by fail, get E's, you can get in the special courses, ace those, and you're at the same GPA as the kids that were doing well in all A's. Right? The only difference is some of those kids might be CP, AP or honors. That's the difference.
If they even have that anymore.
Yeah. It sounds like they do because they have to take the some of them still take the AP exams because those are on a national level, so they don't have a choice.
Right.
But it made me realize, like, how do you, schooling wise, how do you, like, when you're going to college, what do they have to go by? Just an essay? They don't have to take SATs anymore.
Depends on the college, but yeah.
ACTs are optional, which I think they've always been. I think.
Well, you could either take SATs or ACTs. Some schools will take both.
But I was baffled by the fact that it's like, here's what's going to happen, right? Realistically, 10 years from now, the Catholic private schools are going to keep the ABC system, right? They're going to do very well because colleges are going to look at them now because the other one's a shit show. And then 10 years from now, they're going to go, well, all these Catholic school kids were privileged because they got to go to private school. When in reality, they shot down their public school educations because they got rid of the grade point system. Well, I don't even think they have GPAs anymore.
It's kind of the opposite in the sense that the reason why they do it under the guise of, oh, it's fair for the students.
Exactly, well, but it doesn't make sense.
It's actually a lot easier for the teachers. It's less work for them. They don't have to do anything. They just mail it in. ACTs, AP classes, all the ACTs and
they're
SATs,
almost incentivized to
Absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely.
I think.
But in the same breath, based on what you're saying, the teachers' unions would be thrilled if they could get rid of all the Catholic schools because it's competition.
Yeah.
They make them look bad. They educate students with a third of the money that they take from taxpayers for the public schools, and they do it under the guise of, oh, well, we've got so many kids and they have special needs and we need so many services. But you also pay these teachers a ton of money to now they only have to do 2 grades.
Well, I think
an A or an E.
Tenure is bullshit. The tenure stuff kind of makes me a little mad. I'm kind of wishy-washy on it because obviously if you're a fantastic teacher, you deserve the tenure. But I knew professors in college that were on tenure they didn't even show up to classes. They didn't even bother teaching their
No
students.
industry does tenure for a job.
Yeah.
Why the teachers?
I don't know why. Again, I'm not saying there's bad. Every teacher's bad, but I've had, and I'm sure everyone who watches has had some pretty shitty teachers.
I'm actually talking. I would talk directly to the good teachers.
Yeah.
Stand up for your profession. You should want to get the dead wood out. You should want to get these drags out of the system who keep pulling
Absolutely.
it down, who pass kids along because they're too lazy or they're fed up with the system the way it is, which I can understand that. You can get sick and tired of dealing with it and trying to fight the fight that nobody wants you to win. But at some point, this is your profession. And why do you think you have the right to tenure? Nobody has a job that they're entitled to in corporate America or
That's a good point. What is the point of tenure? Like, how did it come to be? Do you know?
I don't know the background, but I think it was a way of rewarding and keeping teachers of a high caliber and having them dedicate themselves to teaching at a certain level, and they get all these benefits and they could do sabbaticals and all this other stuff. You're granted tenure.
Well, I just remember in college. So listen, I liked my college, but the problem with the science departments was that all these teachers would come to do research, and then they would be given a grant, and then in return they just had to teach. You know how many teachers didn't even bother teaching? Yeah. And I went to a pretty decent school. Yeah. They didn't bother teaching because they already had the money that they needed for the grants and the tenure. One decided that he was going to finish his book rather than teach for a day. I was like, man, dude, thanks.
Right.
And
there's many who are quote unquote experts in their field and they teach at a higher level.
But then again, I think that's the broken part of the system. I don't blame them because they didn't want to teach. They didn't go to school to teach, right? They needed the grant because that's how it works. You need the money.
Yeah.
There's nowhere else you can get the money for a grant because some of the projects they're doing are.
Well, there are other ways, but that's
government grant.
But that's the system works where it's easier. Again, it's like an easier. You get into a university, they do the heavy lifting for you. You don't have to bust your hump. You can focus on what you want to do, and you just get the grant and do what you have to do.
But like if I was in their position and my goal was to be the next big psychologist, I don't know. Like, why would I want to teach? That's not my goal. Right? You're giving me a job that I don't want to do. Not saying, like, of course, there's jobs that people have to do that they don't want to do. Right. But it's like, I got this, like, it's kind of like asking for a job in, let's say, like, for lack of a better, I wanted a business job. I signed up for a business job. You said, yeah, you can have the business job, but also I have to do some farming. You know? Yeah. Like, I feel like that's kind of, it's like the full opposite of what. It's a give and a take, which, again, I understand.
Well, there's also this false premise that just because you're an expert in something, you can teach it.
Yeah,
because a lot of people are very intelligent. They can't teach for crap. So you wind up going to these elite schools where Professor Muckety Muck is teaching some topic that you're into. You get there and he lectures one day, is not there, and then a TA takes over and teaches the class the rest of the time.
Do you remember Dr. C at my high school? Dr. C was I don't know, I hope he's still alive. I wonder. But he was that
old.
I just remember he looked like. I don't know if you remember seeing him. He had like this blowout. He looked like the mad scientist. It was hilarious. But he was a guy that was clearly way too smart to teach. But the difference is he understood that. So we would have these crazy curves, which now that I look back on it, like the curves were not. That doesn't really help anyone's knowledge. It does help grade wise, but it's tough because I don't know what he really taught. Like, I know it was physics and whatever, but it never made sense to me. But he was a guy that on the board, it just all made sense to him. Like, if he was to do it, maybe nowadays, if I went back and took one of his classes, I'd completely understand now. One of the things we should do, well, we'll talk about it in a second, but just to finish the story. But he was way too smart to teach. And then there was Miss, you-know-who, my math teacher, who was way too smart to teach in math, but didn't understand that. Yeah. So all the kids were failing except for one girl in the class who actually understood her, I guess. And that caused all of us to be in like the F's and D's and C's area. So I understand, like, your point of too smart to teach, or some people that are, just because you're an expert in a field doesn't mean you should teach.
Yeah.
So, but also I want my grant. So what do I do in this regard?
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking, that's at the college level also. When you're talking,
I'm talking
high school
level,
and grammar and
just
middle
because
school,
a lot of our viewers are high schoolers.
The Western, if you talk to somebody who, like your aunt, she studied education in this country, it goes back to Marxist and socialist ideas from a long time ago. That's the whole school environment. And it permeates, and over the years, that's been the goal, to make it all equitable. Nobody has to get grades. Everybody gets the same grade. It's not about what you achieve. It's all about learning. Problem with that is, as we know with everything in society, it doesn't work. The society doesn't get better because nobody strives for more. Everybody gets content with everything being equal. And if you're the kid that busts his hump to get an A, and everybody in the class gets an A whether you do the work or not, it doesn't help you. You wind up, the kid that gets the A's all the time eventually says, "What am I, crazy? Why am I killing myself to get A's when everybody's getting A's?" Right?
We're good. Yeah, no, you're completely right.
Yeah.
So I think, back to kind of what we were just talking about, like, I think a lot of this is just lack of education. I think a lot of times, like, how many of these kids probably don't even know what Hamas is?
No, a lot of this is illegal immigration in this country. You have brought Palestinians in here who are pro-Hamas, pro-terrorism. Yes, we all lived through 9/11. I mean, come on. No. We all remember that.
Now, we're not saying all Palestinians. We got to be careful here. We're not saying all Palestinians are Hamas.
No.
But again, I think unanimously,
any individual, whether you're Palestinian or not, if you're in a street corner calling for the death of any group of people, you do not belong in America.
Agreed.
That's not our Constitution. Go to another country where they go to Palestine.
At what point though is that not freedom of speech?
Because you're saying for death. I have no problem with somebody coming in and supporting Palestinians. That's their right. Right. Just like I have no problem with Israelis supporting the Israelis.
This is why it gets a little. We say right now that it's either pro-Palestine or pro-Israel. But, okay, fine. Take Israel out of the equation for a second. When you say pro-Palestine, if you mean the Palestinian people, I think everyone agrees. But if you're saying pro-Hamas, that's a whole different... You can't say the two. They're two separate entities, in my opinion.
You can, but I will parse it because this is America. You can support Palestine. Yeah. My political opinion is... Hamas was elected by Palestine.
But they didn't really have a choice.
Maybe, but we don't kid ourselves. The people that support Palestine support Hamas. Yeah. It's a very accepted government entity.
Again, I don't think a lot of these college kids know that, though. You see what I'm saying?
But you bring in an element into this country. You have teachers encouraging them to believe something that is not true about that area, okay?
Right.
And it has morphed into when you can stand on a street corner and say, death to, fill in the blank.
Yeah,
I don't care what that blank is.
Agreed.
Okay? No. I don't even like to hear death to Nazis, if you will. There was a time in this country where that was horrible and, Nazis are bad. True. Look at where we are now. Now I have people who support Hamas holding up Nazi symbols. And they're being allowed to do that in this country. Okay. There was a time where that was, 4 years ago they were calling our ex-president a Nazi because it was an evil thing. Now it's acceptable to say Nazi. Yeah. So you can't take these individuals seriously.
Isn't it wild how, that's such a crazy thing to say, to call someone a Nazi, but how, numb we've become to it because we throw it around so much. It's almost like, well, obviously, because no one was alive back then, but I don't think these people understand what a Nazi was.
Well, they persecuted the Jews, and here we are. So guess what? They know exactly what a Nazi is.
But
they
to say
throw
that
it around when it's convenient.
Exactly.
But now when we're literally
it's just a term.
Right. Now when they're literally in an environment where you're persecuting Jews, and you're fine with beating people, a friend of a friend, kid on a subway, somebody just came up and punched him on the face. He's got long black hair. He's got a long beard. Thought he looked Israeli. Who knows? Or Jewish. Just randomly punched him in the face. My friend's kid. Just riding on the subway. This is what's going on in this country. And the problem is it's not being stopped quickly enough.
Yeah.
It's not being
This is only going to go downhill. This isn't going uphill if we're not doing anything about it. This isn't going to stop.
But the point is what we're learning this week that nobody realized in this country, including liberals who have brought these individuals into the country through their policies, and some conservatives too who accepted it. Now you're seeing the reality of it. They're not hiding this anymore. They hate this country. They're pro another country that happens to be our enemy, from 9/11, by the way.
Yeah.
And they're anti a religion in this country, which is against everything that we stand for as a nation. And we just keep bringing them in. Why are they here? And there are laws that says if you support terrorism, you could be kicked out of the United States. That's part of immigration law. It needs to start being enacted. And we're seeing it in overdrive. But what's worse is we're seeing professors at these astute institutions saying, oh, yeah, I'm thrilled that this happened. I'm thrilled that they attacked Israel.
Yeah, that's insane.
It's insane.
Those are people that I think should be put down 100%. Right. We need some of that.
Well, and the joke is the next week they get all this pressure and they come out with, oh, I apologize, my words were wrong.
Unbelievable.
I'm tired of that. These are supposedly intelligent individuals who think before they speak. They're not apologizing because they mean it. They're apologizing because of the backlash, and they're realizing that they're not getting away with it anymore.
They're almost as off the rails as Jada Pinkett Smith. Have you seen any of that stuff?
Oh, my gosh.
Holy shit, that lady's a maniac.
Her book is tanking, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. Thank God. Yeah. That lady's I think she's actually a crazy person. I think she's actually like a schizophrenic.
I think there's some mental health issues.
I think she thinks
she's
the main character of the world. You know, like everything revolves around her, and she thinks like if she makes something up, like it just comes to fruition. Yeah. But she's like, but also like, now here's the question. Mainly because I want to get off the topic we were talking about before fucking YouTube just like you're never posting again. Will Smith, did you think that this makes the slap worse? The Chris Brown slap?
Worse? What do you mean?
So here's what I mean. So Will Smith, like now that we're seeing how crazy...
They weren't even married at the time when he did that.
Now that we see the whole scope of things and how batshit crazy she is, do you feel a little bit for Will Smith? Like, are you like, hey, okay, we kind of understand a little bit what you're going through?
Well, I think he has issues too. I don't think it's just her. I think it's interesting for young listeners especially, maybe even older listeners too. This is a perfect example of this was a couple in Hollywood that people lionize is probably a better word. Oh, they have such a nice family. Oh, he's so talented. She's so talented. They're so attractive. They live such a good life. I think they're Scientologists. No, what are they? Are they Scientologists?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith.
I believe that.
And the whole family and the blah, blah, blah. Oh, and they blend together and it's such a good relationship. It's a marriage that's lasted forever. Well, it didn't last, okay? And now you're starting to see it starts with this punch, and everybody's questioning what's going on with Will Smith. Now we've morphed into this wife coming out because she's selling a book. Yeah. Coming out and making all these outrageous
I really
claims.
love Tupac, but I'll settle for Will Smith. It's like, dear God.
Right. But again, it's another lesson for young people who idolize these individuals, especially Hollywood people, follow what they say like it's gospel whenever they come out with some bird brain idea. It's an example of people are just human. There's obviously something brewing. We don't know the whole story.
I get your point, but here's the problem with that. Who's she? She's just married to Will Smith. She was in like one movie a long time ago. That was it.
Well, no, she's been in a few minutes. She's in The Matrix. She's been in a few blockbusters. Are we going to
compare her to Will Smith? She would be nothing without Will Smith. Literally nothing. We would never hear of her.
Well, 100%. I mean, you were too young to remember. I remember when they were dating, courting, and they were in the news, and it was a big deal. And then they got married, and that was a big deal.
Really?
Yeah, that was back. They were on Oprah. They had their their big time in the spotlight, and they still do. I mean, he's a very talented actor.
Absolutely.
I think he's Academy Award, but obviously something's going on. Just that slap alone, and we saw his reaction. It hurt his career.
Oh yeah, it did. But for someone he's not even married to, like they've been putting on a facade for. They said they broke up in like 2017 or something like that.
Well, she said that.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said.
I don't know if he said anything, but dear God.
No. So you're only getting one side of the story here.
Yeah.
And you're only getting, somebody who's trying to promote a book and try to sensationalize things a little bit. Yeah. But to me, it's just another example of I roll my eyes at these individuals. They're no better than anybody else. Yeah. They just have a lot of money.
You put them on a pedestal for no reason.
Right. Lionize is what I said.
I think I saw an article. I'm pretty I don't know how true it is, but apparently she lost Netflix like $1 billion on one of her shows or something like that. I think it was the Cleopatra show or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was
$1 billion. Do you know how bad show has to be to lose $1 billion on Netflix.
But I don't know if it's true, but the kids came out. Imagine what it's been like for these kids.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they're not normal environmental.
You know who I give props to? Did you know that there's 3 of them? Yes. I always thought it was just the 2. I always thought it was Willow and Jaden.
No,
there's
he has
Trevor.
a child from a first relationship.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's hers.
Well, hey, I hopefully that kid's a little normal. The other 2 have gotten better, but like. Well, I was like, who the hell is this third guy?
Normal's a relative term when you're living in that kind of environment. They've probably not been allowed to say anything about what goes on at home.
Yeah. PR teams.
Right, their publicity, and they've been in the spotlight. His children, his son was Karate Kid, so his kid's an actor. It
is wild how, I couldn't even imagine like trying to navigate that when you're 6 or 7 years old, right? Like
it's hard enough when you have parents who are sane and trying to work it out. When you've got people with lawyers and PR people and agents
in a house so big, there's a football field in their house.
Right. Well, I mean, aside from the money aspect,
it's a whole different life, though. Like that's a lifestyle. Like you can't. I don't think you could relate to anyone.
A lot of these celebrity kids. I mean, it's not their fault. They're not normal. They're not living normal lives. And I laugh at these parents like, we're trying to give them a normal life. Yeah, they move out of Hollywood.
Tough, though, right? How would you go about it? You can't really give these kids a normal life when you're Will Smith's kids.
Well, especially when your father slaps somebody in the Academy Awards and you're in school. I mean, it's a catch-22. The celebrity gives them a lot, and the celebrity environment costs them a lot. But when your parents are going through a divorce, and I saw some headline, whether it's true or not, where they said the kids are relieved that they can finally say something. Yeah. I can believe that. This is the life they're living under, right?
It's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how many of those kids actually live at home anymore because, again, they're just as... They have money from all their stuff that they've done. So I don't think I think they moved out when they were like 16, which should have been a sign, honestly, now that I think about it.
It's a bizarre environment for kids to, and for all the crap think of all the time wasted. People writing articles about what does she think and why did it happen when the slap occurred, right? That was 2-3 weeks of back and forth, and meanwhile it was all a farce. They weren't even still married.
Like like if when you're born into that environment, that's it. But I always think of like Justin Bieber, right? He didn't have famous parents or anything, but he was famous at like 8 years old or whatever, 12 years old.
Yeah.
Like your whole life is just complete, and we're talking Justin Bieber, not some just guy that had a one-hit wonder. Like life has got to be a whole different ball game.
Well, there are a lot of celebrities, huge celebrities, that had the benefit of grounded parents who worked to keep them normal, who knew you're not going to be normal, but let's try and make it so that you don't get exposed to drugs or alcohol or a bad environment. And they put their foot down.
I don't know what
because when you have young kids, I mean, they're different because their parents are celebrities, right? So now they're celebrities.
But again, not just celebrities, the biggest of the celebrities.
But when you read some of the stories, and it's coming out more and more, all these child actors and how they were abused.
Oh yeah,
that was the culture.
Well, I always think the Macaulay Culkin law, right?
Yeah.
Because his parents just basically took all the money that he made from Home
Alone. Oh, but I'm not even talking that. I'm talking abused if your parents didn't watch out for you. Abused by agents, producers on these shows, the things that they made these poor kids did. Yes. And now they're all starting to come out. And it was, I can't think. Macaulay Culkin was, who's the other one?
Well, they actually have a law named after Macaulay Culkin now in the world because his parents took like all of his money that he made. So he was broke by the time he turned 18.
Right, but there was another kid. He was in Stand By Me. I can't think of his name now. But he was the goofy kid in it with the glasses, right? And he came out, boy, I want to say a while ago, maybe over 10 years ago, right?
River Phoenix?
No, Corey Feldman, right? Okay. He came out because he'd been a child star. And he was saying things about, how he was abused, and everybody thought, okay, he's a nut job, he's crazy, whatever. But he was blatant. The pedophilia for children in the acting industry is outrageous, and these kids are left on their own because the parents, many of them, are more concerned about, oh, nobody would hurt my kid. They wouldn't do that. You're handing your kid over to these people, and they do whatever they want to. Now there are somewhat more rules and regulations, but he started it all, and everybody called him crazy. Well, now look at what we are. The girl from iCarly, she came out and said the same. The blonde, her friend.
Oh, yeah.
She wrote a whole book about it. Her mother was weird.
We don't know how true those are now. Right. But like, again, Jeanette McCurdy is her name.
But But there's others who have come out and said that this is people have no idea. So why are we saying this? If you're a parent and you have your act together and you put a kid in this, those are the parents, they mock those parents, but you can't just let your kid go in that industry. Yeah. Look at Will Smith's kids. They grew up in that. Their parents were in that industry, so they were being watched. The parents are involved.
You know who... How can I transition this? This is going to be a tough transition, right? You know what famous parents you do want?
Oh,
the WNBA players' parents or whatever.
I was going to use this as the question at the end.
Terrible transition, but
I was going to use this at the end.
I want a WNBA mom.
I was going to use this for the question. You remember you always want a question?
Yeah. I
was going to ask people what they think. Do you think this would happen?
So Clay Travis on women's basketball. Now, again, I'm not a sports guy. I don't know who Clay Travis is, but he says a good state champion caliber high school boys team would smoke the best WNBA team. I completely agree, and we know this just statistically.
Well, one of the players called him a dumbass, right?
Yeah, then she's not very smart.
But he wrote back and said, "I'll put up $1 million, but I picked the team."
Deal.
To play it.
That'd be sick.
Well, that's why I was going to ask that as the question. Do you think that's true? What's your opinion?
Well, that'll be our question for the week. But, I mean, he's 100% white. Look at... Everyone forgets that the women's national... Freaking Meg Rapinoe or whatever.
Megan Rapinoe, yep.
The women's soccer team, so American soccer team, lost to high school boys who were, not even top ranked. I think it was... I'm not going to guess, but yeah, they got wrecked 13-0.
Yeah, during before the
I'm gonna
World
say
Cup,
it.
Whatever.
Women's sports suck.
Oh,
okay?
come on.
I'm throwing it out there. I'll take the heat.
They don't all suck.
Well, volleyball's sick, but besides that, there's no. I'm saying it. There's no sport where the women are gonna beat the men. Name a sport. We'll go down. Tennis. Oh, well, Serena Williams lost to the ranked 150.
I will say this. I don't have a problem with men and women competing in chess.
Sure.
We don't need women chess men. Why not?
I think that's...
There's another one that I saw.
But we're talking...
Fencing. Okay, what about fencing? Foiling, fencing. I guess there's a physical aspect. They've just started that with women.
Okay. Women's sports are fine. That's cool. But don't complain because you're not as good as the men.
It's not a question of good. There's a different element
I'm doubling down. I want you to know this. I'm doubling down. Well, I hate women's sports.
I don't hate women's sports. I don't have a problem with women's sports. I'm just tired of them trying to elevate it to a level that it's not. The WNBA is great for women. It's great for young girls. It's a great opportunity. I don't know how they would do.
That's great. I'm fine for opportunity, but when you come, we deserve more pay and stuff. Yeah, no, zero chance. I completely agree with this guy. He's gonna the women's WNBA would get.
I don't know what triggered him to do this, to bring it up, but
probably pay again. It's probably pay.
Well, I think they just had their championship, the WNBA.
Name 3 WNBA players that aren't Sue Bird or what the hell? I don't the lady that's known for being in Russia. I can't even. Brittany Grimes.
I know one.
Go ahead. Name 3.
Ionescu.
Never heard of her.
She was Oregon State. She plays, I think, in New York and Liberty.
Okay.
There was a football player who's married to one who
just
won.
Player?
No, a football player's wife. I just saw her recently.
Okay, case in point. Now name 3.
Oh, and the one she's in the picture, the one who's retired now.
See what I'm saying here?
She's a sports
cancer. Name? Okay, name 3 NBA players.
Think about what's her name. Well, I can
exactly.
Yeah.
Women's sports are not fun to watch.
All right. I'm throwing it out there for you, audience. I don't know if we've talked about it yet, but you know what I'm going to say.
Go ahead.
Why is there no transgender yet in the WNBA?
It is weird, right? They've gone to...
Okay. I've said this for how long, Chris?
We might have to do some tests on... Maybe we're getting demonetized like crazy. But
my question isn't wrong. If anything,
no, you're right.
I'm woke as could be. They should promote me. How is it that all these other sports have transgender performers or players, participants, and yet somehow the WNBA, in a sport that is played by millions of kids every year at the high school level and grammar school, and college too, there isn't one transgender that wants to play on the WNBA.
Yeah, they dominate. Can you imagine if LeBron James transitioned? He'd drop 100 a game.
But forget about the NBA guys. I'm not looking for them to play. I don't want to say play down because I'm a head handed to me, but a high school level player who happens to be a transgender who has puts up great scores and very talented. Why is it that none of them have applied to and been accepted on a WNBA team?
I don't know. That's something we'll never fix. Listen, I'll tell you how to make the WNBA popular, right? And honest to God, this is what you'd have to do. I'm not even kidding here. Once a year, have the WNBA, have your best players play the best NBA players. They're going to get smoked. But hey, at least I'll hear about them. I'll watch that.
Right.
I'll watch them lose by 200 points. Guess what? You will make more money off that game. Women's NBA women's players will make more money off that game than they've ever seen in their
somebody's
careers.
Comment was it'll be the highest rated WNBA game ever when it plays the high school
That's
kids.
what they have to do. You'll have to eat shit and get wrecked. But hey, are you here for playing basketball? Or are you here for the finances that, again, you guys are making? I don't even want to know what you're making a year. Maybe it's okay for you, but like, don't complain about pay. Like, why am I not getting paid like LeBron James? Are you kidding?
I just want to make one comment, though. He talks about the best high school team in the country, right?
Yeah, and he's
high
probably
school
right.
boys team.
Yeah.
Where do you get most of your NBA players from? High school.
High school.
They graduate and they play.
Oh, so if they played St. Anthony's, they get smoked.
But hold on. Yeah. Why is it? It's being interpreted as being insulting. Okay, I get it because it's boys versus women, and they say, but a lot of WNBA players, they played in college or whatever, but some are from high school, went to college.
Yeah, again, I'm not knocking women's sports, but we have to talk about the skill sets here. I mean, there's a reason that they don't stand a chance. And that reason is the men's teams, these kids are dunking in seniors in high school. Some are freshmen and they're dunking. Women's NBA, there's like 3 women that have ever dunked. They get smoked.
I understand what you're saying, and I don't know that,
again, if you want to get paid,
if they're trying to drum up attention for their sport, that's one way to do it.
ESPN, listen to me. I'm gonna at you in this clip, which is a terrible idea. But have the all-star team of the women's play the all-star teams of the men. They're gonna get wrecked. Fine, but you will get that payday that you've been looking for X amount of years, and you can put it towards the marketing team or whatever that it takes to bring the WNBA up. Remember, the WNBA costs the NBA money. Every year they lose money on the WNBA.
Yeah.
Every year.
I think it's getting better, though. I mean, in all fairness, I do think it's starting to get more attention.
Before Brittany Grimes, no one
I don't
gave a
know
shit.
about that. No, because, this woman, I can't think of her name.
Exactly.
No, I watch her all the time, but
exactly.
I give her credit. I think she's a great athlete. She's a great spokesperson, etc.
She'd crush me in basketball.
I don't know 100%. I don't know why. It's a weird phenomenon because I disagree with you because I don't believe women should play in men's sports. I think there should be a difference. I don't think that WNBA should play the NBA.
Okay.
There's a difference. I don't think the women should be on that team. I don't think the men should be on the women's team. There should be a difference because I like women's sports. I don't want to see it mixed up.
I'm not saying I don't like women's sports.
I like watching men's sports and I like watching women's sports. I don't need to see it mixed. I don't want to see a physical man who's transgendered, whose body's physical, playing a women's sport. It ruins the sport for me because it's not fair. It's like not an even play field. So I don't have a problem with the WNBA doing their thing.
Yeah, agreed.
And I don't have a problem with, if they want to take on the NBA and play it, why would they want to do that?
Money.
They know
just
these men are big.
That's it.
Right. Yeah. If they really want to do it, they have to come up, or what they could do is an exhibition and mix the teams. Do a co-ed, like some WNBA with NBA.
That would be a better idea.
Right.
Do that. Yeah.
Right.
Do that. Do like a mix of the two. Now, here's the problem, though, and this
similar to what you're saying, like an all-star game, but now it's an all-star. I don't know if you call it co-ed, mix, whatever they want to call it, but an all-star game where you have the teams. They pick X number of women, X number of men on each team, and they play.
Yeah, I'm completely fine with that. Right. And it helps them get the notoriety that they need. But as I said, I can't name 3 WNBA players. I couldn't name volleyball players, baseball, softball, whatever.
I would actually be curious to see how many NBA players would be willing to do it.
Well, if they're owned by the same company, which I believe they are, I mean, they don't have a choice.
Well, if it's not in their contract.
My question is, I think, you know what you'd see, though? you would see the difference between the competitive nature between an NBA player and a WNBA player. And what I mean by that is I'm willing to bet all the NBA players would only pass the NBA players unless they like absolutely had to pass to a
Well, that's what I'm saying. It would be very interesting to see, like, for instance, a LeBron James, who's very, very outspoken about social issues. If he really believes these, I don't know his position on it, on women in sports, men and women's sports, but let's assume somebody like that. I just can't see him doing an exhibition type game. It's kind of beneath him as a player. But I would be curious to see if he would be willing to support the women's team. He's got daughters who play the sport.
My argument to why it is kind of a good idea is you have the dunk contest, you have the All-Star game, you have all this other stuff like the competition stuff. Just put it in there because people will watch it because it's expedition.
Yeah.
So if you do that, I think you'll be fine. I don't think anyone would care.
Well, you can't do the dunk contest because
right.
The women don't dunk.
Yeah. There's a couple women that dunk, but I don't think they can do the dunks that men do.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Could be wrong,
there are limits to what they can do dunk-wise. Maybe they can do more and they just choose not to use it in games. I don't know.
But from the women's perspective of, like, let's say combat sports, I mean, some of the greatest MMA fighters in history were women. But again, you can't have
right.
Amanda Nunes is not beating anyone in the male divisions.
Well,
the only sport this works in is basketball.
There was a 50-year-old, I read
Maybe
to you, a
soccer,
50-year-old man entered into a swim meet with 13-year-old girls. I think he was transgender. He wasn't even age appropriate. I mean, now it's just...
Age is just a number, mother.
Now it's just mocking women. Yeah. And I think it's outrageous, and I'm angry about it. And I'm saying to all the young women out there, you need to stand up because you're being erased.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Absolutely.
So all these women that think they're more feminist than I am or my generation, our generation had our shit together. And we would have been the first ones squawking that there's no such thing as a non-male. Okay? We have a term. It's called female. You can have other terms, but stop trying to get rid of what a female is. And now to be doing something like that where you put an older transgender with 13-year-olds, you're just mocking those girls. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
You're mocking those girls, and that's outrageous.
Speaking of fighting, women getting the crap kicked out of them. Dana White. UFC chief Dana White blasts dummies criticizing him over BudLight partnership video. I didn't even see this.
Yes. So,
is this real?
Yep. So the UFC is now they have them sponsoring them. And the sponsorship deals are about money. And he says, yeah, sure, it's about money. That's why you do a sponsorship deal. I want the money.
Yeah, that's fair.
He says, if we didn't do it, we had other people asking us to do it and blah, 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 blah.
I think the only reason that this is an article is because he's he's good friends with Trump. He's conservative. So I think that's the only reason this article is really being written. If it was any other sport, no one would care.
Well, it's BudLight. Yeah. And it's a manly sport. They lost a lot of male buyers when they had the transgender do the ads and lost a lot of business that way. But he's trying to draw on the core values of BudLight, trying to take the attention off of the issues that they had and saying they're very pro-military, they're very pro-farmers, they give farmer subsidies, they hire a lot of vets. So to him, that's more important. But he's being honest, and he's saying, look, it's sponsorship.
Yeah,
that is money.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because people are saying, oh, you're just doing it for the money. He goes, no shit, it's sponsorship.
Yeah,
That's what
obviously.
it is, right? I don't know if... It seems to me BudLight has really tamped down because of the backlash. Their position on their previous spokesperson. I haven't heard much about it. It's died down. And now they want to get back in the game, and it's a good way to do it. And they're willing. I'm sure they're paying a lot of money. I'm sure it cost them a lot of money for the sponsorship in order to get this attention. And, again, fine, pay for it.
Yeah. The UFC has so much money. I don't know how many more sponsors they need, They just bought out the WWE. Isn't that wild? Yeah, sport that was nothing 5 years. Well, I shouldn't say 5 years ago, but was nothing 20 years ago. Just bought out. How old's the WWE? At least 40s that started, 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
All right, last news that I have. This is the biggest YouTube news we've had. Mr.Beast accused of editing out YouTuber Rossana Pansino, I think that's how you pronounce it. Pansino from Creator Games video. So this is not good because if it is true, which first off, she is kind of crazy for bringing this up. So you know who Mr. Beast is. He's the biggest YouTuber. He does a lot of competition stuff.
Yes.
So this woman who's also a YouTuber, there was a couple years ago now where he had a bunch of YouTubers, like big YouTubers, do a competition. Mm-hmm. And basically what happened is she got edited so that it looked like she was in a lower place than she actually made. In his game? In one of his games? And now she's like, I'm tired of being... I want to see if it has her actual statement. But... Yes. Yeah, this is it. I've been allowing others to treat me poorly in private for many years, and I've said I'm going to start standing up for myself. Okay, whatever. But basically, she's talking about how she was edited out of the top 3 in the creator games. And it's like, who's treating you poorly over this? Right? This is a YouTube video from 2 years ago. You have people bothering you about not placing in creator games, unless she's talking about other stuff besides the creator stuff. But then I would say, why are you going at Mr. Beast? Is she saying that the editing put her at a lower place? Yes. So it's edited so it looks like she did worse than she actually did. Oh, well, that's not right. Sure, but it's like, this is probably 2 or 3 years ago, I would say. Oh, well, let's see. Okay. Real fast. Let's see the Creator Games 3. I want to see if it's on here. Yeah, 2021, I guess. Yeah, I think it's 2021 that video originally came out. So it's been 2 years, and now you're coming to... But my question is, who's bullying you over... You're a YouTuber. You're someone with a massive fan base, and this is what bothers you? Yeah. I have a small fan base, and I get shittier comments than fucking... Then you play 7th? You play 7th? You suck. Right. So that's why I think this is more than just the creator games. Well, is there a financial aspect? Is it notoriety she's not getting that's monetary? Maybe. Yeah. There is a monetary aspect to it as to how... I think only the top 3 do place or they get something out of it, but that you can't really cut out. This is what I think happened. And this is just a guess, but... Well, hold on. Is she getting attention just by doing this? That's the question. Oh, okay. So that's what everyone's wondering, because it's 2 years later. What are you trying to say? Now, here's my other question to... if I was, just as a fellow YouTuber who's trying to think of like how I would do this and how his videos are shot, there's so many different cameras that they have to compile footage for. There's no way, time code wise, that let's say you have 9+ files to get all that lined up and not make mistakes. Like, if it's purposely done, then that's a little different. If it's slight things, I don't know, maybe they just don't remember because they record them months. It's like, who won, who was 3rd place again, like stuff like that. I don't know how his editing team works. Remember, he's not the guy editing, someone else edits, right? He just watches the final cut, maybe, I'm sure. Well, maybe when she says Mr. Beast, she's talking the group. Now, this is the other difference, though. This is the other question. Now, because he does these tournaments, there's actual laws, right, that he has to follow because they're financial tournaments. Yeah. So I think that is a legal issue that might be brought up. Oh, I'm sure. But a lot of people are coming, because he also invites just random people. Any subscribers can come if they get lucky and get picked. And they say, yeah, I got placed in a different... it sounds like he's been doing this a lot, but now the question is, what do we have to go by? There's no video evidence unless we have the original video. I'd never keep my original videos. So, the original fat file, it's not hers, though. It's Mr. Beast's. Well, so I don't know, unless he still has the original content. They may have to keep it legally because it's a competition. Which is a crazy amount of stores that they must have. So if that's true, this is easy to figure out. Keep it for a period of time. There might be like a cutoff period of time, which might explain why she's coming out now, because she knows it's been destroyed, so she has a case. Oh, right? That's a good point. Sometimes timing is an issue, too. She hasn't mentioned it. But I don't know why. Right? She's a big YouTuber. She's pretty big. So I guess this gives her even more attention and money, possibly too. I totally forget. I'll give her that. It's been way too far, but it's been way too long since I've seen her pop up. Or maybe she's right. Yeah, that's possible. Maybe it has been happening. If it's true, there should be other people experiencing it. Yeah, so that's the question. We'll see it. Now, what does this mean for YouTube? That's the biggest question. So Mr. Beast is their pride and joy. He's the #1 YouTuber. If we find out that a lot of videos have been faked this whole time, remember, because he does a lot of philanthropy stuff too. This could really hurt his career. Again, kids are always going to watch it. I think he's still going to get the same numbers, but people won't want to work with you anymore. Well, yeah, I mean, it's his reputation, like we've said before with that other. We're talking about it. Is it worth it to him? Remember which one that was. To jeopardize the good thing he's got going over one person? Do you settle? Do you fess up? Do you prove that you're not doing it?
He's gonna have to say something if he wants people to take him seriously, or prove that she's not right.
Yeah. Ideally, he has the original files. That's probably tens of, maybe hundreds of hours of footage that people are gonna have to go through to get proof. So I think in the end, no one's really gonna end up caring. But Amy, I'm trying to read it real fast. But my question is, why does this affect you that much? You see, like, of all the things on YouTube that cause you problems, this was it. Something that's not even your content, it's someone else's content that you participated in.
Right, but she's on a platform that got her some attention, and now she's moving to the top of that platform, even though she didn't even come in third place. She's making a name for herself in the Mr.Beast.
But there's no
world,
name to. She's already very well known. So that's why it's like, what's she doing this for?
I didn't know her. Yeah. I knew Mr.Beast, but I've never heard of her. So not that I'm
she's
into
pretty
that
up
stuff,
there.
but
Yeah, she's pretty up there. But it's kind of weird in the sense of it just really came out of nowhere.
Again, maybe she thinks she's been wronged.
Maybe she's right. Again, I don't want to say she's completely wrong, but attention. Give me some proof.
Well, and also sometimes you float this to see if other people step up.
But now here's the question. Now people who haven't even participated in any of his games are like, oh, I was there, but they told me to go home. It's like, well, we have no proof of that.
Oh, yeah.
So hundreds, thousands of tweets are like that right now. But this is going to be, I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this one. This could be, listen, YouTube, I'll be your next poster boy. It's fine. I'll take it.
Why aren't you on this game? You don't get picked?
No, I'm not subscribed to Mr.Beast. I'm not 5 years old. But,
Rossana Penzino.
Yeah. How many? Oh, let's go to.
Poor Rossana Penzino.
Let's see her numbers real fast.
She's struggling, Rossana Penzino. Did you fix the TV thing that Mike was talking about? Online?
No, I'll just post it. We can't really fix that, Rosa. But how did you?
Careful, this TV might fit and might.
Yeah. Pants.
You may come down tomorrow. This TV will be gone.
Let's see if her numbers are going up like crazy.
I think it's too big.
No, it's not. Yeah, nothing. So she really hasn't had like an uptick at all. So this doesn't really help her or hurt her. Well, her video views have been down 33%. So maybe she saw that 33%.
Maybe they'll give her some money. She'll get some money out of it to keep her quiet. She drops it.
Do a court case? I don't know. But, I mean, estimated yearly earnings.
No court case. He'll just pay her some money and settle. Tell her, here, Rosanna, here's some money. Go away. And she will. Yeah,
I'm sure. He's got the money to do it. He also has huge backings.
Probably why.
She makes almost $1 million a year. Good for her. Anyway.
Are we done?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We did a little under an hour this time. We didn't go under any rants today.
Well, I only had two. We did.
I had to stop you from the Palestine. You were going way too far. I was like, the second she said
I didn't realize.
Whoa.
Sorry.
Wow. Breaking podcast rule number 1. Holy.
I just turned my thing off.
All right, but we'll end it there. The only things I have to promote is the podcast from last week. I have a video coming out I was going to post it today, but it ended up being too busy, so I'll have to
We should have been in costume for Halloween.
Oh, we should have, but I'm 27.
58.
We're not doing costumes. But yeah, so we'll end it there. Video, yeah. So we're good because this comes out Monday. So we're gonna finish up the 100% playthrough for, or not playthrough, ultimate walkthrough guide for Lords of the Fallen that we screwed up on yesterday. Still mad about that. And then there's gonna be another video Wednesday and hopefully one Friday. So on that note, I will see you guys on Monday. Social media down below, promo codes down below, Discord down below, other stream links down below, and happy Halloween. Be safe out there. If someone's offering you apples, definitely TP their house. Don't eat the apples because you gotta be careful with that stuff.
Yeah.
So
no razor blades. Make sure the candy wrappers
real quick story, real fast. My friend Gina was like, I think I told you this. My friend Gina goes, I give goldfish to the kids. I was like, oh, you're getting your windows smashed in.
Not only that.
Who gives goldfish?
I'm gonna add to the negativity of the podcast. That's on the list of bioengineered foods. I never knew that. Yeah. I can't buy goldfish anymore.
What? Really?
Yes. Somebody sent me something, an email with all the foods.
Gina, you're killing kids.
Yeah, my friend went to the store. She goes, I just went to the food store. It took me an effing 2 hours to go shopping because I had to read all the goddamn labels.
All the labels and shit, yeah.
Everything she likes is bioengineered.
If I was trick-or-treating and someone gave me goldfish, I'm throwing it back at them.
That's like the midday snack to get to lunch at school because they don't let you have candy.
She says she gives it to the little kids. I was like, yeah, bullshit.
Get a piece of candy. Why is
Give the kids what they want.
It's Halloween. Give them candy.
I wanted a healthy snack. Apples. Remember when we would go to the I'll bleep the last name, but when we would go to the and that one house that had the bowl of apples in water. Do you remember that?
No. That was to do apple bobbing.
Who the hell's apple bobbing?
People used to do that. It's gross.
On someone's fucking porch. Who's apple bobbing on porches? What the hell are you
I thought it was at a party. I didn't think it was on somebody's porch.
No, I remember distinctively just the chair outside.
Yeah,
remember
weird.
that chair outside?
No, I don't.
I remember the house too. I could tell you.
I remember a few of them leaving the basket at the end of the driveway, so the little fat rich kids didn't have to walk to the door.
Well, now they do trunk or treat, so they don't even walk around anymore.
Yeah,
you know
we
that?
used to do that.
Yeah, but it was cool back then. Nowadays, it's just because kids don't want to go.
No, because they're not allowed to.
Yeah.
A school in New Jersey canceled Halloween. Even the governor, who I'm no fan of, said, give me a break. It's Halloween.
Thank God, yeah. Oh, that was a couple of years ago, though. I remember
No, just this year.
Oh, really?
He just came out and said that, yeah.
Well, either way, we'll end it there just because we just hit the 1 hour mark. Stay safe, as we said. Enjoy Halloween, and we will see you at stream and in the next one. So, cheers, guys.